that's right, it is back, the first weekend preview of the 2021 season, and we have a full fixture list, well nearly, of Premier League and Championship action. So let's get straight into it, starting off with Fulham v Arsenal at Craven Cottage. I think Arsenal will start the season off really strong, and Fulham I do have my worries about, so therefore I think it could be a pretty comfortable win for the Gunners in their first day of the season, which is why I'm going to predict a 4-1 victory, I'm going to say, to the Arsenal. Next up, Crystal Palace v Southampton. Two pretty evenly matched sides, in my opinion. However, I do think Crystal Palace have home advantage for what that's worth. But I do think they will have enough just to record a slightly narrow win. So I'm going to say Palace 2, Southampton 0. Next up, West Ham v Newcastle at the London Stadium. I think this will be a pretty evenly matched game between two sides who aren't in the greatest place at the moment. West Ham obviously rocked by the sale of Diangana. Newcastle haven't really got enough incomings through the door, so I can see it being a bit of a stalemate. I'll say 1-1. Next up, Premier League versus Championship winners, Liverpool v Leeds at Anfield. And I think Liverpool will have a bit too much for Leeds here. Although I'm not expecting a bad performance from Leeds, I do think Liverpool will be very clinical, which is why I can see a 4-1 victory for the Scousers. Next up, West Brom versus Leicester. Leicester, I think, will have a bit too much for West Brom here, and I think they will get a victory to start off their season, despite West Brom being on the high from promotion, but I'm going to say 2-0 to Leicester. Next up, Tottenham versus Everton. I'm expecting a pretty close game between these two sides, two good sides, but I think Tottenham home advantage may just have enough to see off Everton, which is why I'm going to say a 2-0 win for Jose Mourinho's men. Next up, Brighton v Chelsea at the Amex, I believe. Once again, two sides. Brighton, I think, may struggle this year, as I said in my predictions. Watch that video, most recent. And Chelsea, with all the signings they made, I think they should do fairly well. But for some reason, I think this may be close. Maybe because Chelsea need to integrate their signings. So I'm going to only say a 1-0 win for Chelsea. Sheffield United versus Wolves at Bramall Lane. Two sides who had a great season last year, and two sides who I think will have pretty solid seasons again this year. And I think this will be a really tight match game. In fact, I'm really struggling with this one actually. Boom, boom, boom. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. Next up, the Championship predictions. Starting off with Watford versus Middlesbrough. This is a Vicarage Road, so I think Watford may have home advantage, but then again, a Neil Warnock side, you can never really put them off, which is why I think this is going to be a super close game, and I think the score will be a 1-1 draw. At St Andrews, this is Birmingham versus Brentford. Brentford, it'd be interesting to see how they react to losing the playoff final. I personally think strong. Great signings like Ivan Toney. Birmingham have made a lot of signings, no real standout ones though. So I think Brentford will have just about enough to beat Birmingham. Next up, two newly promoted sides, Rotherham and Watford. I think this will be a close game. Neither team will really want to lose this. Their first game back in the Championship, or first game in the Championship in Wycombe's case. So I think it will end in a 0-0 draw. Next up, Barnsley versus Luton at Oakwell. I think this will be quite a close game actually. Both teams finished last season really strongly. Two great managers in my opinion, Gerhard Struber and Nathan Jones. However, I think the way Barnsley ended last season, I think they may have just enough for Luton. And I'm expecting it to be a pretty solid season for them. So I'm going to say Barnsley 1, Luton 0. Start Bournemouth v Blackburn. Bournemouth have done pretty well over the summer, getting some big money from some players. And I don't think they'll have too much of an issue against Blackburn, as good a side as they have been recently. I just think Bournemouth have a bit too much for them, so I'm saying 2-0 to Bournemouth. Up, Bristol City versus Coventry. This should be a really close match. Bristol City, I'm not sure on their appointment of the new manager. I would have personally gone in a different direction. But anyway, Coventry did great last season. However, I do think Bristol City may have slightly too much for them, so I say narrow 2-1 win. Cardiff City Stadium, it is Cardiff v Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday, of course, starting on -12, and Cardiff will be on a low after the playoffs, so this could be an interesting match. But I do think Cardiff are the slightly stronger team at the moment and have home advantage, so I'll say 2-0 Cardiff. At Pride Park, it is Derby v Reading. Now, the most unnecessary thing of the summer, I think, is replacing Mark Bowen, who did a great job at Reading. But there we have it, with some bloke called Velichko Punovic. And then Derby, I think they're looking in great shape ahead of the new season. With Wayne Rooney, he's going to be a star for them this year. So I can see Derby picking up a comfortable 2-0 win. Next up, it is Huddersfield v Norwich. This will be an interesting match. I've been really impressed with Norwich's recruitment this summer. And Huddersfield, I'm not too sure on them. They haven't had a great pre-season. Not sure what to make of the new manager. So I think Norwich will have enough to pick up a 1. Next up, Millwall v Stoke at the Den. I'm actually expecting a really close game here. I'm expecting Stoke to do pretty well this season, as I am for Millwall to have another solid season. But I think it'll be ending a stalemate because I think the teams will be that evenly matched. So I'm going to say 1 apiece. Up Preston v Swansea at Deepdale. I think this will be a really close game actually. Two sides who I think will definitely be in and around the playoff places this year, following solid seasons last year. And I can't see anything to separate the two sides, so I'm going to say 2 apiece. Next up, QPR versus Notts Forest. QPR, I think losing Eze will help them. However, they have made a few good signings, like Rob Dickie is a great signing. Nottingham Forest, following last season's disappointment, I think they'll be challenging for playoffs again this year, and they might get it. I think Forest will probably have a bit too much quality for QPR here, so I'm going to say a 2-0 win. But anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts and predictions in the comments down below. Remember to follow me on Twitter, link in the description below for daily football news, and subscribe to my other channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.